Now, here we go now.
Touchdown, Cooper. That was DeMarcus Lawrence.
They can't stop us. Keep hitting him in the mouth. Keep hitting him in the mouth. They can't stop us.
Keeps his feet to the 10. Touchdown, Elliott. Gallup leaping. Touchdown.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night is presented by AT&T. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
34-17, the final score from Baltimore and M&T Bank Stadium as the Dallas Cowboys fall to 3-9 on the 2020 season after giving up 294 rushing yards in the loss to the Baltimore Ravens. Cowboys now 1-5 all-time as an organization against Baltimore. Kyle Youmans, Nate Newton here for Cowboys Game Night. Welcome into the Star in Frisco. And Nate, when you talk about this loss, you can point a bunch of different directions for the Cowboys. You can start on offense, didn't finish drives. You can talk about defense, not slowing down the run. You can talk about special teams and missed field goals. But what stuck out to you for the Cowboys in this 34-17 loss?
The question was before the game, and it was answered, what will Lamar Jackson do with this run game, and they got after us. A little bit here, a little bit there. As we say in the first half, get us 2 or 3 yards in the cloud of dust, but they got us early with big runs, 37 yards, 27 yards, straight up the middle of the gut of the defense, and you cannot do that. And our offensive line, they held up to about the third quarter, and then they started leaking, and then it kind of fell apart in the fourth quarter. So great job for the offensive line, not so good for the defensive line.
Since October of 2017, Mike McCarthy is now 7-21 as a head coach in the NFL, and he's 3-9 as a start for the Dallas Cowboys head coach here in 2020. Here's what the visibly frustrated McCarthy had to say after the game.
Mike, was this just a case tonight of the Baltimore's ability to run the ball, kind of took you out of everything you wanted to do and just set the tone for the game?
Well, I felt the way the game started. It's really the big plays, particularly in the first half. When we came in at halftime, I think we were -5 in the big play category. Obviously, the big 4th and 1 and 3rd and 1 for Baltimore, those runs were obviously factored. But with that, we did a number of good things in the game. The time of possession, first down production. Obviously the issue, we're kicking field goals or attempting to kick field goals, and they were scoring touchdowns. So obviously the result, 300 or almost 300 yards in rushing is obviously a big factor in the outcome of the game. But their big play production, particularly with Lamar tonight, I thought was a huge factor in the outcome of the game.
Mike, why do you think the run defense has regressed in the last couple of games after seeming to come along?
Well, I think today was obviously a different challenge than we've seen. This is a unique offense. Obviously a very physical, just offensive line, and just the dynamics of the combination of the running backs and Lamar. So really the 3rd and 1, particularly the 4th down, was a call that we really should be in great shape there, and it wasn't, we didn't execute it, but hey, it's 300 yards is obviously astronomical, but we have to get a quick turnaround. Just when you feel like you're taking some steps as a team, the keys to the game was stopping a run, and we definitely didn't get that done tonight.
So whenever they will go back and look at this game, it's pretty simple. The Cowboys did not stop the run, and they couldn't get the run game going. When we come back here on Cowboys Game Night, we'll hear from Ezekiel Elliott after he ended up with 77 yards in the 34-17 loss to the Baltimore Ravens when we return on Cowboys Game Night.
This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. The Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket from the Texas Lottery is your ticket for a chance to win up to $100,000. Get your Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. Must be 18 or older to purchase a ticket. Play responsibly.
The Cowboys on the ground in their 34-17 loss to the Ravens had 4 yards per carry. That's half of what Baltimore averaged in each of their average carries over the course of the loss. Let's go back out to M&T Bank Stadium and hear from Ezekiel Elliott after the Cowboys fell to the Ravens.
Zeke, what was it like getting back out there? It seems like you guys hadn't been on the field forever. Did it feel like it was kind of slow getting jump-started tonight?
It did seem like we hadn't been on the field for forever. I think it was, 12 days. I don't think we felt like we had a slow start or anything. I just think the biggest thing on the offensive end, just we're getting good field position, we're getting the ball inside on our 50, on our side of the 50 or their side of the 50. We gotta go score touchdowns, and that's kind of been the story this year. Short turnaround is always tough, but it is what it is. That's kind of how this year's went. Just kind of got to do things on the fly, and we got a short turnaround, but we just got to make the most of it. We got to make sure we prepare mentally, physically. We got to get our bodies right, and we got to get ready for a quick turnaround and get ready to go play Cincinnati.
After he was out there early on and then scratched later on because of a positive COVID test?
Yeah, some guys had said something about it right before he went out, before the national anthem. That sucks. I hope he, he gets better. I hope he recovers, and I hope no one else on their team is infected also.
Best wishes, of course, to Dez Bryant after his positive COVID-19 test prior to the game. But when you talk about the game itself, Nate, and the 77 yards on the ground for Zeke, there were times when the rushing game looked like it was finding a bit of a rhythm because the offensive line found a bit of a rhythm.
Oh, yeah, I think they did a nice job. Once again, I've been saying this all year for Coach Philbin. He's been putting together a mismatched bunch of guys, not saying that they're not talented. They just don't have a chance to play together as one unit. But they looked good today against Calais Campbell and Derek Wolfe. Those are some Bulldogs, and they come to hunt every week. And I think they did well up until about that fourth quarter. And I think they got a couple of sacks on them late. But, hey, good job.
Kind of ran out of gas a little bit late. It was the 8th time this season we've seen a different combo of offensive linemen. Well, what did you think about the running game with Zeke and Pollard, kind of that dual threat attack?
Zeke had some spike to him today. He did a nice job, and Tony is Tony. I like how he still brings the ball out, big kickoff return, 66 yards, and he's that big punch, and Zeke is the hammer there. So I like the situation. It just, they got behind, and you had to start throwing it, and I think the quarterback did a nice job in Andy Dalton.
Yeah, he definitely did, and we'll talk a little bit more about Andy Dalton later. But when we come back, let's switch to the defensive side of the football. The Cowboys struggled to slow down Baltimore, and we'll hear from Leighton Vander Esch right after this.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. The Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket from the Texas Lottery is your ticket for a chance to win up to $100,000. Get your Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. Must be 18 or older to purchase a ticket. Play responsibly. This segment is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
For the second time in 2020, the Dallas Cowboys defense allows more than 290 yards on the ground. Let's go hear from Leighton Vander Esch, who struggled a little bit in this one to slow down that Ravens offense.
Why do you think you guys can't find a level of consistency in terms of stopping the run and those kinds of things?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, obviously it was not a very good night at all. And I think we just got to stick together. We got to lean on each other and trust each other. and have confidence going into the game that we're going to go out there and everybody's going to do their job, including myself.
How much of the layoff that you guys had, by no fault of your own, did that have to do with tonight's performance?
I don't think we can blame it on that. We got to be ready to go. We got to be ready to play regardless of circumstance. So, yeah, we got to find a way to put it together.
Was the physicality the way you wanted it to be as a group?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we'll see when we watch the film, but I just don't think we were there in a lot of areas tonight.
Leighton, we talked to you about the Antonio Gibson touchdown on Washington, and you explained to us some of the assignments. Lamar Jackson had an untouched 37-yard rushing touchdown tonight. Same issues, or what do you attribute that to?
That was 100% me. That was on me. I read the play right off the bat, and I should have just fit my assignment. That one was all on me. I read it perfectly until I second-guessed myself and thought he handed it to the running back. But that wasn't my job, so I need to do my job.
One of the biggest and most frustrating things for this Cowboys defense in 2020 is the fact that you haven't seen consistent improvement. There you see some of the statistics given up by the Cowboys defensively. 34 points on the board again, 400-plus yards again, including 290 of those on the ground. Nate, where do you start with this Cowboys defense? Is it the front seven? Is it the fact that you're banged up in the secondary? Really, you could go anyway on that defensive side of the football.
I know what you asked me, but I tip my hat to this young man, Leighton, for accepting responsibility for a big play that turned into a touchdown. Great job, young man. You will learn and you will get better. And that's where you start at, with yourself and making sure you do what's right. If your coach puts you in a position to win, it comes down to you doing it what you have to do. You have the athletic ability to do it, and I hope you convey this to your teammates, because that is the right attitude to have after an ugly loss like this.
What has led to these get-right games for opponents? You could talk about Cleveland, Arizona, these offenses that come in a little bit struggling, but they come out refreshed and with big-time numbers.
You know, I call it the pharmacy effect, man. I mean, whatever ailing these teams, they come in and they fix them on the Dallas Cowboys. But I promise you, if these guys can have an off season together, I mean, I'm not scrapping this season, but they haven't practiced enough. They haven't seen what Coach Nolan needs them to do enough. And and the only way they learn is on-the-job training, and they're getting punished.
Yeah, they absolutely are. The Cowboys on the offensive side of the football saw a bit of success, and that was thanks to the play of Andy Dalton. We'll hear from him when we come back here on Cowboys Game Night.
This segment was brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
(34-17), the final score is the Cowboys fall to the Baltimore Ravens. Andy Dalton finished 31 of 48 passing for 285 yards and a couple of scores. Let's go back out to M&T Bank Stadium and hear from QB1 after the game.
Andy, you had a pretty balanced offensive performance tonight. Was it just a matter of not being able to cash in at some key times to kind of keep the momentum of the game going in a different direction?
Yeah, for sure. You know, we kept getting stalled kind of like right before the red zone. And, you know, we made it tougher on the kicks. And so, you know, we got to find a way to convert first downs in those situations, keep drives alive, and get down there and score touchdowns. You know, we was balanced. I mean, there's some good things that happened tonight, but, you know, we've got to find a way to just keep pushing, keep getting those first downs to give us a chance to score.
What were your thoughts of the protection you had tonight? I think you were sacked just the one time.
Yeah, I thought our guys played really well up front. To go against that, you know, the Baltimore defense, you know, they're known for their guys up front, their blitz scheme and all that kind of stuff. I thought we communicated really well. I thought the guys played really well and gave me time back there.
I know your focus is on this team's performance and what it needs to do, but in a week where the Giants got to win and Washington got to win, it's hard not to feel that this thing's starting to slip away from you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we know what the situation that we're in, and all we have to worry about is us. Just let's control what we can control and see how this whole thing shakes out. Would we like to, narrow the gap a little bit? Yes, but it is what it is, and we got to keep moving forward.
Andy said it himself, the fact that the Cowboys kind of felt like they left some points off the board in this one. The numbers don't look bad. I mean, you had 270 passing yards. Andy Dalton was able to throw it to 8 different receivers, all of those in the first half, and then he was able to spread it around again in the second half as well. But whenever you come down to it, you've got to finish drives, and the Cowboys just didn't do that today.
You look at that 6 for 15 efficiency on third down, but guess what? If you get it 2 more times, you're at 60%. You're at 60%, and now all of a sudden you're looking at a whole different story. You inside that red zone, and now they have to give you a whole different look. And we were successful once we got inside the red zone, so that's what we got to do. Don't stall on those drives.
And you had Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper, who each caught a touchdown pass. Andy Dalton was able to throw it around a little bit better today. What did you think about him managing the game and how the Cowboys could build on that the final 4 weeks of the year?
This is the guy we thought we would see at the beginning of the year when Dak first went down, but he had those physical ailments, to get knocked out, and the COVID deal, and so he started slow. But this is the guy we expected to see, and great job, Andy.
Yeah, he definitely saw a bit of improvement from the passing game, and I think the offense, if they could finish drives, are going to feel better moving forward. When we come back, we're going to tie a bow on this 34-17 loss to Baltimore and look ahead to the Bengals as we're going to Week 14 of the NFL season on Cowboys Game Night.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night was presented by AT&T, Reliant, an NRG company, and by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
Well, 2020 continues to 2020 as we take a look at some of the final stats as the Cowboys fall to the Baltimore Ravens on the road in Week 13 of the NFL season. The Cowboys surpassing 380 yards, but they just could not slow down the ground game from Baltimore. 94 yards on the ground from Lamar Jackson, the reigning MVP. Almost rushed for as many yards as he threw for. Only threw for 107, but he also had Gus Edwards, 7 carries, 101 yards, and the Cowboys, even though they won the time of possession battle, as we've talked about before on this show, they just couldn't get the win in this one. He's Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Youmans, wrapping things up here on Cowboys Game Night. But the Cowboys have an opportunity going up against the Cincinnati Bengals, currently 3rd in the overall pick of the 2021 NFL Draft. Cowboys sitting at 4th. Can the Cowboys get a win this week?
They can. I think with their quarterback being out, the number 1 pick being out, I think they have a more than great chance, a more than just passing chance to get it. They can win this game, and that's what it's all about, trying to build a culture and getting things going in the right way. And I understand some people talking about tanking and all that. Football players don't tank. We get paid to play, and we love this game, and coaches get paid to coach.
What is your message if you're Mike McCarthy this week, short turnaround?
Win the game. 1 play at a time, 1 series at a time, 1 quarter, 1 half, and before you know it, you've won the whole game. Enjoy what you're doing. You're getting paid a lot of money, and that ain't the bottom line. The bottom line is what's in your heart.
Got to find a way to string together 4 straight quarters if you're the Dallas Cowboys. Haven't done that lately. They didn't do it today. 34-17, the final score from Baltimore. For Nate Newton, for myself, and the rest of this DallasCowboys.com crew, we'll say in so long, that's it for Cowboys Game Night.